welcome to this little introductory video on how to navigate through Patient Care 1, otherwise known as MRAD 223. We just refer to it as Patient Care 1 or Patient Care. It's easier that way. So what I'd like to do is just take a few minutes to walk you through this and give you an idea of the format, key dates, things that, again, are important as far as preparing and being successful in this course itself. So I'm preparing, to approach this course, and how do I go about doing that? Okay, let's have a look here. So on the left hand side, you'll see my contact information. Okay, so the NH207 is the office in the H wing of the lab. I'm a part-time worker, and the days I work this semester are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'll be on campus on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thursday, I'll be mostly working from home, but I'll be accessible. So we can make appointments if need be via email, or we can use Teams, which we can just access each other. And Teams is a communication platform, which you guys will be introduced to. Maybe some of you have already used it. As far as important dates, if we scroll down here under calendar, okay, now, I know as you're trying to get organized and schedules and busy households and things like that, what I've done here is I've provided with you a calendar that outlines the different dates that you have assessments. Okay, so if we look at September the 14th, now it says a test run for using Lockdown Browser and Respondents. So I just like to explain Lockdown Browser and Respondents for those of you that didn't quite get it in orientation this morning. That is the proctor or an invigilator tool that we use to assess patients. Okay, so it's an online tool. The respondents is the webcam. Okay, so you might hear it referred to as the webcam. So when you take some of your assessments in not just patient care but other courses, you will be using Lockdown and Respondents, okay, to complete those online ones. Your actual assessment, now the purpose of that to do this test run is that so we don't run into these technical problems and heighten the anxiety and the stress that already comes with completing an assessment. So this is our chance to work out those technical issues, okay, those bugs per se, and to just introduce you guys to what this tool looks like. All right, so I prioritize that because again, we don't need any additional things going on when you're trying to complete an assessment. If we have a look, on September the 21st is going to be your first quiz. Okay, your first quiz is on September the 21st, and that's an Alberta Health Services Final Motion Restriction quiz. That will be, I guess, in some explanation, it's an open book test. Okay, it's a manual, all right, that you'll be tested on. We'll go into the details as to how that all will work, but just September 21st, be aware, please. That's your first quiz in patient care. Then we move on to the lab assessment. Now, the lab assessments will be delivered in a written format. Now, ideally, we would like to be able to test you on performing different skills in the lab, but with COVID, we wanted to be mindful that things can change suddenly, and so we have to take those types of things into consideration. So your written lab assessments will take place on two different dates because we have two groups that will have lab, and then the following week they have another two groups that will have lab. So there are two versions, okay, with different questions to this assessment. So the groups that write on October 12th will have one version, and then the other half of the class who writes on October 19th will have a different version. All right, okay, just wanted to kind of point that out. Your midterm will be November the 2nd. Okay, November the 2nd will be your midterm, and then as we move down, the last assessments we have a part A of the final exam, and it mentions there it's worth 10%. Okay, and we'll go into more details about this as the semester moves on. And then your last official date of the final exam for patient care will be on December the 14th. So if you can make sure that you are available to write the exam on December the 14th. All right. As we look to the right hand side of the screen here, you'll see what's called Introduction to Video Note. Now I like to use video notes to provide announcements, updates, homework assignments, things like that, as well as I also write announcements. So there'll be written announcements, there'll be these video announcements. I only get to see you guys once a week, unfortunately. I'd love to see you more than that, but I only get to see you once a week. So, it's really important that we establish that communication piece and understand where do I find that information. Okay, so I'll have a video note versus a written as well, and that's always something you can reference. And that way, right, we make sure everybody's staying on task and working through what needs to be done. If we go into assessments here, if we look under assignments, okay, we're going to look under the assignment tab. And this is the only true assignment that you have, okay, and it's part A of the final exam, okay, and it mentions that we have an open date for this assignment, and then we have November 23rd being the due date, okay. In comparison, let's go back into assessments and let's look under tests. In comparison, we have now a breakdown of the tests that you will be having in the patient care course. So, just to clarify, the test run for using Lockdown Browser and Respondents is not worth any marks. Okay. Your first actual quiz will be on the Alberta Health Services Final Motion Restriction Management Quiz. That quiz will not use Lockdown Browser and Respondents because it's an open book per se assessment. Okay, and that's worth 15%. And we'll talk further about that in class. And then it again too goes into your lab assessments. Okay, and then when you are writing the midterm, we'll be using Lockdown Browser and Respondents, and that is on November the 2nd. And then we are moving into Lockdown Browser and Respondents for part B of the final exam. Okay, all right, let's get into the content. What are you guys going to learn about in patient care this semester? All right, one thing I just kind of want to point out to you. So again, too, on the left-hand side here is where it is divided into course information, okay, course content. And if we click on course content, it will break it down further into the weeks of the semester and the outcomes. Okay, so body mechanics is an outcome. And then it talks, okay, in weeks number 4 through 7, we have administrative procedures. That's another outcome. All right, so it gives you again to a little bit of a map as far as how long we're going to spend on each of these outcomes. Okay, the nice thing that you'll notice here is that there's check marks. So if I go into, let's say, course information, and we got a course outline. Please make sure you download the course outline. Really important. The reason being is that perhaps some of you and previous students have worked in other countries, okay, or they've applied for other programs like med school, etc., like this and that. So if you have the course outline, you're able to often, maybe not take another course or you're fast tracked or whatever the case may be. So please download the course outlines for all of your courses here. Okay. We also have the textbooks readings for ERLIC, which is our patient care course textbook. It's also used, ERLIC is also used in many of the other courses. So it really is a go-to source when it comes to textbooks. So the 10th edition, which was just released last spring, is the most current one. All right. And then we have, this is really important, it's like how to navigate through the patient care course. This is the worksheet that I'm going to ask you to complete after watching this video. All right? Okay? Because again, too, I know we dump all this information at you, and I just would like to make sure that you have an opportunity to process that and really kind of look at, okay, how do I approach this course? Okay, so that is what you're going to be completing after you watch this video. Okay, all right, and again too. So as you can also see, there are check marks indicating, I've done that. So some students have expressed that they like the checklist and that sort of thing. So on D2L, the beautiful thing about this is it actually lets you know that you've already accessed that. So, all right, so that just kind of gives you another reference to see, have I completed that or haven't I completed that? All right. When we go into the course content itself, I have YouTube video tutorials. Okay. Now, some of these tutorials, you have the option of watching, but I would recommend, honestly, I recommend watching all of these, okay? They're supplementary learning, so I created them last year when the students were doing online, and it's all going to be the same content, okay? It just gives you, again, it's almost like a recorded lecture, okay? So if you're kind of going, oh, I know we went over in class today the paper and the paperless requisitions, but I wouldn't mind actually like watching this video again here, all right? Now, keep in mind, the campus was closed last year, so I recorded all of these outside. And so it's kind of got a whole movie theme, all right? There's no editing, there was no script. It was just as if, okay, here we go. It's a live lecture and I'm recording it, just like what I'm doing right now. No script, all right? So I would highly recommend you look at these YouTube video links, okay, to see sort of what other things that you could take away from some of this lecture content. Okay, all right. So that being said, when we look at how the course is broken up, okay, so we have from weeks 1 to 4, we're going to focus on the outcome called body mechanics. All right. Now, body mechanics is we use it for every patient, almost like 90% of the patients we need to implement and execute proper body mechanics. So it's really important. Now, in each of these different outcomes, such as body mechanics, so I'm just going to click on here, you'll see 2 categories. One is the learning material, and the other one is the activities and the worksheets. So if I click on learning material, and again, too, it had that sort of condensed version, and now we've just expanded a little bit. If we look under learning material, so you can see the dots, right? It means I haven't accessed those. I did access a few things just to ensure that they were working properly. But so it'll give you, for instance, like here's our PowerPoint on body mechanics. Here's our PowerPoint on transport versus transfer. Okay, so this is all the learning content. Now, I really hope this doesn't. I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this. Okay, I like to, because again, too, I only see you once a week. I like to allow students or give students the option of accessing this content, like throughout the entire semester. All right, you will be given very detailed descriptions as to what we're going to do the following week, what you need to read over, and that sort of thing. But just in general, this is all your learning content, or probably 99% of it, throughout the entire course. Okay, so under body mechanics, we're in weeks 1 to 4. Here's your learning content. When we're looking at the activities, so we have worksheets, and there might be other activities, exercises that will ask you to describe something or what have you. When these worksheets are assigned, you will have access to the answer key, but I'd like you to try to do them first without the answer key. All right, so the answer keys will be provided for you, not to worry, but this again too is just how I've broken this down. Okay, so we have the weeks of the semester, we have the outcome, and in this case it's body mechanics. Because there are so many, I produce so many videos with the body mechanics, because it's just another tool to help students really kind of like review this and look this over, that sort of thing. So there's these body mechanic videos, pardon me, and they're the same videos that are found under the learning material. Okay, they're just a duplicate. I just wanted to give you guys access to these videos in more than one location. Okay, then we move on to administrative procedures, and if we click on that, once again we have all our learning materials, okay, regarding administrative procedures. And if we click on the activities and worksheets, there we go. Okay, more of those sort of it's the reinforcement, it's the circling back, right? It's like, okay, let's find out, like, what did you retain? What did you recall, right? Because a lot of this will actually be quite dialogue focused. So we'll have lots of conversations, which is why I really want to bring you guys back to campus to teach. And part of that is that, we don't care for patients online, right? We have these interactive, engaging, encounters. So I would like to make sure that we start building that foundation, because there's a lot of nonverbal body language. There's a lot of